Hey y'all, it's me, your fave, Miss Milan. Look, I wanted to come on here and tell you a little bit real quick about the Vaulted series. So, Vaulted is a collection of videos that I've made in years prior for various reasons. I have gone on a journey with how I wanted to show up, how I wanted to expose myself, what it is that I wanted to say. And a lot of times, for many of us, when we go on that journey, we have a hard time, and this, different personalities, but we have a hard time accepting our true purpose and our true calling in those spaces. So, as I started to grow here on YouTube, I wanted to go back and drop some of those old videos just to allow those messages to be of use. So you guys saw the last video that I did, the last video that I posted about my move to Puerto Rico, part 1. This particular video was done December 19th of 2018. I want this to be a message to anyone who has ever doubted the authenticity, doubted the timeliness, doubted the necessity of their message. I want this to be a message to you. No matter what, no matter when, no matter how. When it's your time and what you need to give to the world, it's time for that. Alignment and synchronicity become your way of life. So I want you guys to, if you haven't watched the video before this, I want you to watch that video. Then after you watch that video, I want you to come and watch this video. Everything in this lifetime is a matter of perception. The things that we see that are happening around us, whether we see life as bad or whether we see life as good, are a reflection of the way that we feel about ourselves, the way that we feel, the perspective that we take on about life. There is no true concept of bad or good when it comes to who you are as a person. There is only what is. So a lot of times we have resistance in our lives when it comes to the people around us. What we have to understand about the people around us, whether they be our friends or family relationships that we continue to foster, those people are only a reflection of who we are. They say the 5 closest people around you, the 5 people that you talk to the most, are a direct reflection of who you are. Think about that. Really, really think about that. And think about that as you go forward in your life, because nothing in your life is set in stone. Nothing in your life is concrete. Everything can change. Anything can change at any moment whenever you decide to change it. Whether that's your job, your friends, your financial status, your relationship status, any of the things, how much you travel, any of the things that we aspire to or say, these are the things that make a whole, good, full life. If you write those things on paper as you perceive them to be. You can make those things happen. There are so many cliches in the world. A good one, I guess, for this context would be, whatever you believe, you can achieve. There's nothing on this earth in our reality that human hands did not create, that a man did not sit and use their hands to build. Outside of nature, everything else here, everything that you see is the projection of someone else's reality. There is no harm, there is no foul, there is no error, there is no strife where you do not see it. Now, it's not that things don't happen to challenge you. It's not that people don't do things that may cause a reaction, but you have to understand that the things that people do is also a projection of their perspective, of their reality. So if someone is saying very hurtful and biting things towards you, it's a projection of how they feel about themselves. Because you, everything that they're saying to you, you are a reflection of them. So the things that they're saying, they're not even necessarily saying them to you. They're really talking to themselves. So there's really no need for you to take it personally. Now, what you can do, what you do on your end is you hear these things and you take inventory of how you feel, because your feelings are valid. You take inventory of how you feel, how those things made you feel. And if something inside of you stirred or felt uncomfortable or felt at unease and at any dis-ease in any way, that's something to look at. That's something to say, okay, what is it that I feel here? What is it that they said that could have possibly penetrated me? What is it that they said that is a reflection, that I feel is a reflection of who I am? Because there's been a couple of times where, in my past, someone may have said something, or even now someone may say something and it's so totally off base from what I thought we were talking about or what I was expecting. It's just, but then they say a thing or two that's like, all of a sudden you're offended, like somewhere you're offended. And immediately, of course, we want to defend ourselves. We want to get in there. We want to tussle. I had this conversation with a friend. She said something that it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable to hear. And of course, your first mind is to jump in there and defend yourself. But at a certain point in awareness, you start to understand how that feeling of offense connects with those deeper feelings of guilt, of insecurity, of various forms of pain, instability that we don't necessarily even know exist. Majority of the time, like those surface emotions, like your anger, sadness, pain, those top layer of emotions usually have a deeper emotion attached to them that will help you sift through the shifting of your perspective. It'll help you shift through the, as I like to say, the muck of the trauma of life. Because who you were as a child is the purest form of you that you will ever be. And it's not impossible to get back there. It's not impossible to remember and get back to a more clear perspective, but it always takes, in the words of author Jack Kornfield, it always takes taking the one seat. That means if your life is a car, nobody's driving that vehicle but you. Nothing happens that isn't a reflection or an action or a maneuver somehow of your driving. And that's taking the one seat. And sometimes that's hard to do. It is. Sometimes you want to say, no, but they did it. Them. And that's cool. Maybe they did do something. But how long are you going to react to it? How long are you going to hold on to it? What can you do now? You know, one of the principles I found very useful in self-awareness and development is being proactive in the sense of who you are as a person. So if you could sit down and just choose, like I said, you get to choose who you want to be. If you could sit down and just choose these characteristics, okay, I want to be this, and this as a person. Cool. You can put the proactive measures in place when a situation arises. Of course, you may immediately, have a moment. You may have a feeling like, a feeling. You may. Okay, then your proactive nature kicks in. Remember, you can flash back to that list. On that list, I said I wanted to be understanding. So if that's what you're committed to, then you in that moment must commit to understanding, no matter how hard it is, no matter how irrational the other person may seem. That's the thing about life. It's like the greatest game. It's the greatest game because you always level up. So everything is going to be a bit more difficult. Yes. And sometimes you're going to crumble. So that's just how it goes. But you can always get up until the day that you are transitioned out of this lifetime. You can always get up, just like the game. Isn't it interesting, the concept of video games? How you never really die.